What's up, Metal Summoners? It is so great to see you guys as always. We're super stoked with all the love and support that you've shown the show, all the great conversations that we've had, and that you guys are always down to get involved and support live music and get out there to some shows, get records, get merch, and all that fun stuff. This is your Island of Misfit Toys with myself and with Angel, and we've got Fate Defined joining us right now, live and in person. Happy Hump Day to everybody, starting your week and your weekend in the middle of the week. What's up, guys? First and foremost, thank you so much for some of your time this afternoon, this evening, and welcome to the Metal Summit.
What's up?
Us, man.
Good to be here.
Yeah, super duper happy to have you guys. We're really, really excited to have a great time, and let's kick everything off and get you guys introduced and meet the Metal Summoners, the Fate Defined fans. Kyle, why don't you start it off, brother? Introduce yourself, what you do with the band, and then just kick it around the table and let's say hi to everyone.
Hell yeah. Kyle. I'm the vocals and the OG member of Fate Defined. Just yelling to a mic. That's my thing.
My name is Cade, and I'm also an OG member of Fate Defined, and I play bass.
I'm Dylan. I'm not an OG member. I joined a couple years after, and I play guitar.
I'm Sam. I'm also not an OG member, and I do the same as Dylan. Just play my fiddle.
No, that's awesome. Well, again, guys, welcome to the show. Let's have a little bit of fun. But first and foremost, man, let's talk a little bit about World in Flames.
Hell yeah. So, our newest EP, 3 songs that we're pretty proud of. We worked our asses off for them and got out of the studio in beginning of May, I believe it was. We finished up there. And we've been playing the tracks live all year, and we just have a lot of fun with it. We're pretty happy with everything.
Yeah, bro.
No, absolutely, guys, for sure. Yeah, no, totally. How talk a little bit about the shaping up of the EP, because the one thing about like putting out new music, putting out EPs is also taking into consideration like how they're gonna mesh, how they're gonna kind of intertwine with previous songs, the things that your fans are already familiar with you guys playing. So when it comes to this EP and getting these new songs out, playing new songs live, what kind of consideration when you're writing do you put into your past?
For me personally, I don't really reflect too much on the past. It's about whatever the next step is, and it's very in the moment for writing. World in Flames, I literally wrote because most of our state, Washington State, was on fire in the summer of last year, and so I wrote that song literally about all the wildfires that we were experiencing. So very, very in the moment. All the tracks on the EP, they're meant to bridge together in some way, but there's no content that like reflects each other in the songs. They're just a natural flow. But we went for a very, very raw approach to everything while we're recording it, and we didn't do anything crazy with it. Just very raw, which is kind of who we are.
Yeah, we weren't looking for like anything polished. It's not thrash metal if it's polished, in my opinion. So, I mean, our buddy Doug has a pretty cool little setup, but most of it was pretty, I guess, like naked recording. Instead of like putting it through a box, you mic up your cabs and shit, and you just play your songs, and it was a lot of fun, man. But to echo that, nothing really like intertwines together. They all have their own individual theme, and they're just a product of what all of us are congealed into that.
Absolutely, for sure, no problem. When it comes to like how you guys like got together and then also became the group that you are now, as from my understanding, from what I looked up, is that you guys formed in 2020, which was a very tricky time as is when it came to music. But how was it putting together like Fate Defined, deciding the type of band that you wanted to be, the kind of music that you wanted to put out, and then also subsequently finding your colleagues to form what we know now?
We
That's
formed
a-
because we love metal music. I mean, that was kind of the basis of it, I suppose. But yeah, we formed in a pretty tricky time, man. Like obviously the world was going into lockdown and things are kind of weird socially for a lot of people. And I mean, music has always kind of been an escape for all of us, or some kind of feeling of like we just want to do it. It's kind of like built into us as people to just play music. So we formed under the idea that we were just going to make music that we wanted to make, and we're not like trying to pander to anybody specifically. We just do it because we love it, and no matter like how bad it gets or how good it gets, we have that, and we all stick together because of it too, man. Um, yeah, but we all met kind of through the internet. We met together like in person too, like Kyle and our original guitar player Jake, who doesn't play in the band anymore. They came into the shop that I was working at. I worked at a pawn shop that had like a little music section built into the corner of it, and they were looking for a bass player. And I started hanging out with them, talking to them about music. We jammed a little bit, worked out, and we're here now, just about 3 or so years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dylan, Sam, how about you guys?
Sorry, what was the question?
Oh no worries. It was Kyle and Gabe were talking about like the formation of the band back in 2020, but then I also wanted to morph it into getting you guys involved as well about like how you guys got involved with the band as well.
Okay, yeah. So for me, I was a local at, or more of like a regular at one of the local music shops, and the dude there, Terry, he noticed that I was kind of looking for a band for a good couple months, almost a year or so, and so he hooked me up with Dylan, and gave me his phone number, and I called him, and it kind of went off from there. That was in
That was November.
I forgot.
November
of
22.
22, yeah. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting how that happened.
I
Just
think
the
you
fact
called
that me and
Dylan
Dylan
while
both went
we
to
were
the same
looking for
store.
Appleton too.
Yeah, it was a funny story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so initially how I got in is I was reached out by Kyle uh, regarding an app called Bandmix. And I don't recall ever making a Bandmix account. I was just like, hey, how did you find me? Because he initially asked me to come audition for his band. And so I gave a listen to their only song out, which was No Hope at the time. So I listened to it. I was a big fan of it. And so he asked me to come audition, and eventually I got the gig. But then me and Terry, which was a mutual friend, Sam was a mutual friend of Terry and I. And so yeah, he's like, I know this other guitar player. He's looking for a band. I gave him your number, and so you can call him. So one day, me and the Fate Define guys were practicing, and I get a call from a random number. I didn't know who it was. So Cade tells me, put it on speaker and I'll answer it. So I put it on speaker, and Cade just goes, hello! just screams hello at this random person. And it ended up being Sam. Like, hey, is this Dylan? So it was really funny how it all kind of worked together. But it was a great introduction for sure.
Yeah,
No, this is Dylan's keeper.
Yeah, man, it was a pretty ridiculous little situation.
No, absolutely. When it comes to like putting a band together, one of the things that I always find the most interesting about the formation of any band are the individual influences that every member has, and how they kind of intertwine, but still will allow for the vision of the band to still kind of come through. Kyle, why don't you start us off again? What are some of like your specific influence, not only bands that you like, but also things that shape your vocal style? And then guys, if you guys want to go around the table as well, just about like your particular influences and what, your musical tastes are that allow, Fate Defined to exist and coexist, for that matter.
Yeah, for me, I'm a thrash kid, true to heart. So I grew up on Metallica and Slayer and Exodus and a bunch of all the fast stuff. Vocally, it's always going to be Metallica as my main, but I'm big on like Machine Head influences, and from the clean perspective, like a lot that I would practice when I was younger was like Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell are my big ones that I go with, but. Still being thrash, it's always going to be Rob Flynn. It's going to be James Hetfield, and a little bit of Slayer and stuff in there as well. It's always going to be in my heart. So that's what I do.
Right on.
I just play bass, bro. not a lot going on.
That's
I
fair.
grew up listening to a lot of different kinds of music, though. I mean, I grew up listening to Michael Jackson and all the pop in the early and late 2000s because my mom was into that stuff, and she was in Seattle when grunge was really blowing up, like in the late 80s, early 90s. So she got to see all those bands basically playing shitty bars and then become the big bands that they are, like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Mudhoney and Mother Love Bone. And it's kind of all a mixture of that, but I love music, so I try to listen to different types of music. Like right now, I'm in a really weird, like, funky jazz phase, like Herbie Hancock, Headhunters mode, where it's just 70s funky jazz shit, and there's no vocals. It's just all rhythmically and melodically really interesting. So, I don't know, man. It's actually kind of funny that I'm in this band, but like I said, I love all music, man, and metal's cool because you can get headbang and it's all hard as shit and it fucking makes you feel a certain way and you want to like smash your head into the pillar or like throw a guy to the ground and then pick him back up again and throw him back down again. It's just, I don't know, man. It's cool. That's all I can really say about it.
I'm surprised you didn't mention like Muse or Gojira or Tool or anything.
Oh, I love shit like that. I mean, Sam's totally right. I love like Gojira and Mastodon is really sweet. All the heavy riffs and the screaming and the huge sound and the bass response is all very influential to who I am as a musician and as I write music and pursue my daily musical life.
Kate, did you see Gojira's Olympics performance, man? Because
who didn't see that, dude? It was pretty cool, man. That's a fun thing because I think even the guys in that band were like, that was a pretty huge thing for the metal scene because it had never really gotten that much exposure, like on a worldwide huge scale like that, man. And the theatrics of it were absolutely mind-blowing. It's, that was huge.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
That was definitely cool. Like I was like, I've seen Gojira. I like Gojira. They don't quite hit me in like that place where I become like a mega fan or anything. But I definitely appreciate them. But I watched that performance and kind of said to myself, I was like, dude, I think you owe them sort of an apology. Like I think you owe Gojira a little more respect because that was amazing. I mean, it was so tight. It was so cool. I loved the Marie Antoinette thing. And them just each standing in like their own little window of a castle, I thought was pretty amazing.
That's ballsy too, man, being up that high. And obviously they're strapped in, but fuck, dude, like that's just crazy. Yeah.
Right. Like I'm not overly afraid of heights, but I don't like being up there either. So I would definitely be like, you know what? Give me maybe 2 straps just to make me feel good.
Right. I would have been shitting bricks. Like, no way am I doing this right now. No
right. No, for sure. Sam, let's kick it over to you, man, and then we'll bring Dylan in. How about some influences for yourself, man, and musical stylings?
Yeah. So I'm pretty much like the only one in the band who's just a hardcore death metal fan and like melodic death metal stuff like that. So I listen to currently I listen to like Black Dahlia Murder, Inferi, band called Blackfast, Death is a good one. I was listening to them earlier today.
Nice.
Man,
He says with a death flag behind him.
What? I can barely hear it. Hold on.
So you're saying that with a death flag right behind you.
Yeah. I listened to that album today too. But Yeah, so I've been on that for the last like 3 or so years, but before that, it was. I mean, I still love like some '80s like hair metal and rock like Whitesnake,
Yeah.
and I still love like old thrash like Exodus and all that. But say like before I got huge into death metal, it was mainly Metallica, uh, even stuff like Led Zeppelin and Rush and Queensryche. And I still dabble in, really old like 70s rock and 80s and stuff like that every now and then. But I mainly just listen to death metal when I'm doing like anything. When it comes to playing guitar, it's a lot of death metal stuff just because it's very, very technical a lot of the time. And even just learning riffs for some of those band songs can be a whole practice routine in itself.
Yeah.
So it's pretty helpful in that way as well.
No, 100% for sure. Like I've got like a handful of like death metal, black metal stuff that I listen to on like the regular because I'm more of like a glam rock and like goth rock kind of guy. So like I'm really into like Motley Crue and I'm a huge fan of like the 69 Eyes and I'm a big Typo Negative nerd and stuff like that. So like really into that kind of stuff. But for like, yeah, for me, like I'm a big like Cradle of Filth guy. I love Venom and I'm also a big like Obituary fan.
Oh, okay, nice.
Oh, yeah.
I like Obituary.
Yeah. So I'm definitely stoked about that because actually Sepultura is coming through on their farewell tour. They'll be coming through Baltimore and they've got Obituary on that tour. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. So that'll be definitely a good time for them because I haven't seen Obituary in like a couple of years since like Maryland Death Fest, which you guys would love if you're ever able to come out for that because it's just like a giant like heavy metal party. And Dylan, you put yourself there, my friend. Why don't we kick it over to you, bud?
I take a big influence from my favorite band, Avenged Sevenfold.
Nice, dude. You would get along with my wife, man.
Yeah,
That is her band.
yeah, I have the tattoo as well.
Nice.
But yeah, Sinister Gates, the lead guitarist for that band, he does things I can't even explain. I only wish that I can be able to write like him someday and just be able to do what he does, find those perfect harmonies that you're always looking for, like it's breathing. Like it's not hard to him, and it's really admirable what he can do. But yeah, other than that, it's like things like Metallica obviously is a big one for me. Motionless in White. I like my metalcore as well as our drummer. Bullet for My Valentine, Trivium, all that kind of stuff. But I guess all of it kind of originated with stuff that my stepdad had liked. So old school classic rock, Skid Row, Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, those kind of things, and it just kind of evolved over time. I didn't really get into really heavy metal until I heard Hail to the King by Avenged Sevenfold. That's where it all just kind of switched for me.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, now like Avenged Sevenfold's big in this house. Like we love it and stuff. I'm a City of Evil guy myself. A little bit like it's still got that like that raw like feel to it. And I mean I love the old stuff. I love Sounding Trumpet. I love Unholy Confessions. All that stuff is absolutely great, all that stuff. But like the stuff that you were getting that they put out in that third record, between like Bad Country and Beast and the Harlot and Trashed and Scattered, I was like, that's my style. That's like my taste when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they had a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that record. Like I listened to their podcast and they talk about they go to a different song every episode and kind of just talk you guys through the process of each track and what they were thinking at the time and what they were kind of going for music wise and theory and all that kind of good stuff. It's really fun to listen to. They were just during that whole record, they were just kind of like, okay, how much shit can we throw into this record? And it may not make sense, but screw it,
Yeah, no, for sure. Sometimes there's something for like something to be said for like that old saying, like just kind of throwing things against like the wall, seeing what sticks and stuff like that. So I definitely can understand that as well. Angel, if you're doing good, my guy, I'd like to kick it up to you, man. Let you take it away for a couple of minutes, my man. Angel actually says like kudos to the band for breaking the rules and doing a 3-song EP instead of a 4 or 5-song EP. Did the band consider adding a 4th song? Angel's feeling a little under the weather, so he and I are kind of teaming up a little bit for his segments.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no worries. We we talked about what we wanted to do conceptually, as far as like putting out tracks. We even tossed the idea around of like re-recording No Hope, which was our first track. But we had 3. We were happy with it, and the fact that we did an 8-minute song on top of like a 2-minute and 45-second song and like a 3-minute song. We don't really care about what the hell other people say we're supposed to do, or any musicians for that matter. It's not very punk rock if you have to follow a guideline of what an album is supposed to look like or a song composition is supposed to look like. So it's cool, you know, seeing that. It's actually like multiple people have mentioned like, hey, you guys are not doing it the way you're supposed to. You're supposed to do like 5 songs for an EP. You're not supposed to do 8-minute songs anymore. Like, no one does that shit. Why would you guys do that? And we're like, it's music, man. It's organized sound. We do whatever the hell we want. If we think it sounds cool, then that's it. That's all that really matters, you know? We're not beholden to some entity that's telling us you must abide by these rules. And we wouldn't really do well with that anyway. We would tell them to kick rocks. So,
Good.
No, exactly. Because then if another band does it, you guys can say, look, we did it before any other band did.
yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, like we're not doing anything that other bands haven't done. You know, we stand on the shoulders of giants no matter what. We have, you know, the Purgatory is like an epic in a lot of ways, and that's influenced by other bands who have done stuff. World in Flames is influenced by a ton of stuff. It's everything is influence. You know, we're just doing our own spin on what we like to hear. That's really it.
Awesome. I love the design for your band. How did you guys come up with the design?
I reached out to a few different artists, and we had some sketches and stuff that we tried to use. Nothing ever clicked. So I reached out to an artist that a few friends of mine have used in the past, and I told them, this is what I want to see. I want like the sharp edges, very gothic looking, you know, and that's what they came up with. It was like this. The final design was pretty damn near the first sketch that he gave me, and I was like, that's it. That's the one. So the artist just nailed it on the spot.
And about the writing process, do you all collaborate together, or is this just one that concentrates on songwriting?
We like to pride ourselves with having 5 writers rather than, you know, hey, Kate, go write a song for us, or hey, Sam, go write a song for us. It's kind of all of our music tastes, all of our influences into one pot, and it's just kind of this perfect blend between all of them, and that way we all kind of make this one beautiful product that everyone's happy with. And I don't really think a lot of bands do that nowadays. You know, they always have 1 or maybe 2 writers at the most, but I think that's why the bond that I have with these guys is so great. It's, I don't know, super cool.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we all, like we have. I mean, Sam and Dylan usually bring like an idea to the table, and we kind of work with that. But we're all kind of known to have like a vision for something. Like if Kyle has an idea for a song or he's written lyrics to something, we'll try to convey feeling based off that. Or Darren will write a drum beat, and we all just jam on the drum beat, and something cool comes out. Or I come up with some dumbass Tool beat, and then we try to incorporate that into the song. So we all kind of feed off each other, and we're all pretty excited to show people stuff. Like, and we know it's not like a judgment environment, so to speak. We'll fuck around and like mess with each other about it, but most of the time we're pretty open-minded to what everybody has to bring to the table, and we try to make stuff work as long as we can, to make a cool product.
One interesting thing, last year y'all put out a single, Domination. Again, kudos to the band for not going by what the rules are and putting out a single. How did the band come up with that idea? And by the way, that song kicks fucking ass. I love that song.
Thanks, man.
Glad you dig it. It was actually, so it was 2 singles, like back to back, essentially. Your Own Hell and Domination. I think they were like 3 weeks apart, something like that. It was pretty damn near close. The song was actually written in 21, and we kind of just held on to it. We called that, like, I think it was called like thrash riff or something just stupid, and we want to be a fast band, so let's just go off this tremolo pick thing and this pattern, and we'll go with it. And then we just sat on it for years. And then Sam and Dylan took it, and we worked some things and threw a sick lead onto it, and that's that. So yeah, we wanted to put some singles out, try to get music out there, so when we're playing shows, people can hopefully have heard of us before, But yeah, that's where that came from.
Sorry, this is a fun question. If you could pick one word that would describe you as a musician, what would that one word be?
Passionate for me.
Crazy.
I guess I'd probably go passionate too. It's the only thing I really ever want to do.
I mean, I was trying to find a funny answer to that, but I mean, as cliche as it is, I'd go passionate as well.
We suck. We should have better answers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Hit us with the questions ahead of time so we can come up with jokes. That's what we got to do.
I was trying to think of something, then Kyle said passionate, and that's all that was in my brain. It stopped me in my tracks.
It's your fault, Kyle.
Yeah,
no,
it always
crazy's
is.
real, man. It's authentic. It's an authentic feeling when I'm playing. So crazy.
Yeah.
What venues would you like to play? One that stands out.
Well, I just want to play music, but if I could play down at the Whiskey Go Go, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yes.
That's legendary. That's legendary.
I haven't really ever thought about that one myself.
For me, I've been to some amazing shows, like as a fan, and I've seen, like, I of course lived in the Maryland area, so I've been to all of the venues in Maryland. But I just want to get on the stage. That's it. I don't care where it is. I don't even care who's in the crowd. I've played shows for hundreds of people. I've played shows for 2 people. It doesn't matter. I just want to be on the stage. But the dream is always to just get on the next, like the bigger stage, whatever that's going to be. I always have that mindset of like, just give me a shot and we'll kill it. That's it.
Yeah. I mean,
Awesome.
I'm along with Kyle too. Like, any show is a fun opportunity, a learning opportunity, and above all else, just more experience with the thing that you love to do. But some stages that I've been to that it's an absolute dream to play there. I mean, one of them we've already played. But as far as local to Spokane, you have the Knitting Factory, which is the one we've played. We've played it twice now. And then the others are things like the Podium or the Spokane Arena. The Gorge is probably about 2 or 3 hours away from us right now. It's just this big outdoor venue with a beautiful rock canyons and river behind it. It's just very surreal to see bands play there. Also, things like Blue Ridge, which Kyle has actually played, that'd be a big one for me too.
They're dead. Blue Ridge is dead.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah, that was
Bring back Warp Tour.
oh yeah. Did you
Yeah.
hear that Franz from Attila is apparently trying to buy the rights to the name and the tour to continue Warp Tour?
That would be sick.
That would be great.
That's pretty sweet.
Put it in the hands of musicians and not in the hands of the corporations that continuously fuck us. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yes, because what the fuck do they know about music anyway?
Yeah.
Well, they know that people will pay money and they can pay charge whatever they want for ticket prices, and that sucks for us.
Yeah.
Let me kick it right back up to you, Jay.
Yeah, no, totally. Like, no, and it's funny when we were talking about like, putting things in the hands of the artists and stuff like that. There's this guy that like, I'm starting to become like kind of a fan of his just based off what he represents, the way he treats his fans and stuff like that. And there's this guy out of the UK named Youngblood, and I'm starting to find him just really, really interesting as a person because he's like putting together his own festival where he's like, I'm keeping the tickets at this price so people can come to the show. I want to offer free admission to fans with low income like housing and stuff like that. Like it's been a really like interesting thing. I've been watching like some of his like, Instagram videos about it and stuff, and I just find it like I just think it's like super cool, and I'd love to see like more stuff like about that, type stuff, making things like with the ability. And it's funny because like Angel and I have gone on like just rants and raves all like almost every show about this kind of stuff where you'll get people that'll like they'll spend $700 to go to this massive festival but then are like unwilling to kick out like 15 to see like just a really solid local show with like new young talent and stuff like that, and they're just like down for it. Like, trust me, I get it. Having that big, massive blowout experience, whether it be Motley or Kiss or Metallica or whatever, I get it. But at the same time, it's they were this big too at one point, and I feel like the scene is struggling a little bit when it comes to like showing the respect to the bands that are going to keep it going forward.
That's
I think it's rough right now too. The economy and shit. I think it's hard for a lot of people to want to justify like leaving their house and spend that money, which I get to. I agree with you where I think it's funny that people spend $700 to $1,000 on VIP backstage passes to their favorite band ever, and that's cool. Like I do the same thing too. Like no judgment, but yeah, I wish people would come out and just come see shows on a weekday and just hang out and enjoy it. But yeah, it's hard because costs money, everything costs money, and everything's getting more expensive these days. But I admire when artists, I think everybody cares about money to a certain degree, but I do admire when artists really try to make it more accessible for people who are lower income or just have a more kind of like socialist, like communal ideology to music in general, because that's pretty much what it is. It's like a primal thing in our species to be a part of something rhythmic like that. So I think it's really awesome that Youngblood is doing that kind of thing. I don't like his music, but
Sure.
the people who do like his music get to enjoy that, and that's fucking sweet.
No, absolutely. And it's the same thing with me. I mean, he's got a couple of tunes that have come out like periodically that just kind of like hit me in a certain way because I grew up, despite loving like, glam metal back in the 80s when I was growing up, I've also always had like a soft spot for like 80s like pop music, which also kind of like transcends being like relatively kosher with like just pop music in general. Like I can't say that I know much of his catalog as a whole, but as like a person, like what he's trying to do, that's why I find this story so interesting, and I've just kind of been following it kind of closely because I just think it's
cool.
Awesome.
It's
awesome.
admirable.
Yeah, it's admirable, exactly, for sure. Kyle, I wanted to kick it back up to you real quick, brother, because like when the guys were all kind of going around about like influence and stuff, I was kind of like making small talk with them individually about stuff that they were into that I was also into. And I have a curiosity question I want to hear from you. Since you mentioned Slayer a few times, what do you think of Kerry King's new project?
I love it. I'm not the biggest fan of Kerry King as far as like what I read about him. I don't know the guy personally.
Sure.
I hear a lot of like, he has a big ego thing, and he wrote all the music and whatever. It is what it is. But I like the continuing what the direction Slayer was going as it is, and that just raw, aggressive style. And I think the dude from Death Angel is a great fit. He's killing it. And my opinion, Phil Demmel, the other guitarist that he brought in, is one of the most underrated guitarists ever. I got a chance to meet him in Atlanta forever ago, and the dude's just a nice guy, and he does shit on the guitar that others just don't. He has an aggressive style, and I don't know. I dig it. I love what they're doing. I'm actually going to be able to see them next week because they're opening for Lamb of God, and so my sister and I are going to go and check it out. So I'm really excited about it.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I love Death Angel. So when I heard that Mark was in that band, I was like, wait, they got Mark to front that band? Like, I was like, oh hell yeah. Like, I am definitely down for that. And you're right, Phil's absolutely amazing. He's just kind of, I like to think of him as like just kind of one of those like forgotten Phils, you know?
I agree.
Just like, I mean, he's awesome. Like when you know,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like he's like he gets backburned by people at times, and then you just realize like just how bitchin' that guy is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, if he was ever doing something, or if, like, let's say if Rob Flynn didn't play guitar in Machine Head, it would have been the Phil Demmel show, and everybody in the world would have known it. I mean, shit, when he came into the band, the guitars completely changed. It was crazy leads and these, absolutely epic rhythms, and just everything was just fucking great. The Locust record won all of the best guitars in the world for all of metal, multiple awards for that. It's just, underrated as shit. And from the tracks that I've heard him on with Kerry King, his shit is insane. I love it.
For sure, yeah. When it comes to Machine Head, I'm a complete commoner when it comes to them. But the stuff that I do like from Machine Head all came from Phil's era, like 100%. I just couldn't connect in any way. It doesn't mean or make it bad, but I couldn't connect in any way with the early Machine Head. It just didn't make sense to me. But yeah, the fact that like those leads, that style that Phil brought to the band when he came in was just on a completely different level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sure. So one of the things I also wanted to ask you guys to kind of like let us know, considering that myself, Angel, our East Coast guys, and you guys are out there in Washington, talk a little bit about like the West Coast scene when it comes to playing out, especially up in like the Washington area. You guys definitely have like some venues that are well known for putting on great shows. But what is it about Washington that you can tell us about the local scene?
It's pretty communal. Most people, despite the kind of music that you listen to, will. Oh, okay. So, like an example, there's a death metal band out here called Deadlow, and they're pretty popular in our local, like Eastern Oregon, Eastern Washington kind of area, like Pendleton, Tri-Cities, Moscow, Idaho, Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, that kind of thing. They're all pretty, and even into Montana too. So it's all pretty. All in that pretty big region. But anyways, I digress. Dudes like that who listen to like death metal music will go and watch like shoegaze shows, or they'll go watch indie bands play, and they'll support them, and they love the music too. I think that's kind of interesting, is like we all choose to play a certain kind of music for a certain feeling, or because it resonates with you. But regardless of that, I think the mindset is every musician here is a local band, or is a part of a local band, and keeping local music alive is super important right now, post-COVID, post-internet boom shit. So communal is the best way to put it. Yeah.
I'd agree, because just the friendships that we've built locally through different gigs and stuff like that, we're building relationships with them. It's super cool to have something like that, because until I joined a band like this, I didn't really have any other musicians that I really connected with like I have through these guys. I think that's super cool. I mean, going off of what you said earlier, like people will pay hundreds of dollars to see all these big bands, but they were little too. And so I think that's something I can be very proud of when we're able to kind of support our friends and watch each other grow. So,
Yeah, we like you mentioned historic venues and stuff. We haven't really branched out into like the Seattle scene too much yet. We our first show on the west side is going to be in Tacoma in a few weeks, and that's really it so far. Like, we haven't gotten to Cali. We're very rural out here, and trying to break out as best as we can. We just played a festival in Montana. And we have our scene that we're really proud of, and like the community side of things. All the shows have members of bands going to these shows, like other bands, like the I'll say the core adjacent scene, like the hardcore kids, the deathcore, grindcore, slam, all those guys. They all show out for each other all the time. Whatever the band is. Oh, one of the boys started a new band. Let's all go check it out. And that's just what they do. And it's rad. That's very community focused for us out here where we are in Spokane. But yeah, we're trying to break out and do more. And with that, we have, bands that we're trying to uplift as well, because we want to see people get out to bigger and better things.
Absolutely. No, 100%. But so speaking of getting out and getting to like bigger and better things, so we're in the last like final, third quarter of 2024. So far, how with the release of the record, of course, you guys with the EP, of course, you guys are going to be super stoked about that. How did 2024 shape up for you guys, and how did it go? And what's your current plans for the end of this year and into next year? Of course, based off what you guys can tell us.
I guess I'll speak to that. Also, feel free to chime in, boys. Whatever.
Yeah, no, you go ahead and talk about this more.
24 has been interesting. We had really high hopes. Last year, we played about a dozen shows, played some festivals, made some amazing connections, connected with a lot of bands, and we made a name for ourselves. I feel like we made a name for ourselves. And then 24. We were on track to go on tour. We were on track to play some big things, and things outside of our control have not gone the way that we had hoped. We're still trying to play shows. We're still doing our thing, but it feels like we're like an uphill battle. I'm not trying to be negative about stuff, but sure. I have a pretty big chip on my shoulder. But we work our asses off. That's the thing. The Fate Define crew, we work our asses off. We want to play music, and we're genuine about it. And that's that. So we feel like 24 has the opportunity to still get better. But things like we had a tour that somebody else booked, and they completely screwed us. And they just didn't do any work for months, despite me reaching out to them multiple times. And then we had to pull out of the tour because it wasn't happening. Venues weren't booked. We had no guarantees. It was just a nightmare. So just stuff hasn't gone the way that we feel it should have. So all of us are, I don't want to say like pissed, but we're like, all right, we're just going to work harder, and we're going to take this shit on our own.
Yeah, but it's okay to be a little bitter about it too.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm bitter about a lot of things. The guys give me shit for it too much. But 25.
We're prideful in what we do,
Yeah, and
we're prideful.
We have pride. I feel like we put in the work to not be just some shithole garage band. Yeah. Feel like we're pretty professional with how we approach things and how we communicate with people and everything. So our aim for 25 is to be bigger and better. We want to get the hell out of here. We want to be on the road. We want to play with big names. We want to be on the biggest stages, and we're willing to do whatever the hell the work is to get there. That's it. So we're aiming for the stars, man. That's just as real as it gets.
Absolutely, 100%. Want to give a shout out. Hi, Shannon. Hey, Lisa. Thank you to all the Metal Summoners that guys have been tuning in and chiming in, putting in great questions to the guys. Keep it up. Remember, this is a show for you. Don't be shy. We always clear the board, but make sure you guys are putting in comments, because we can't talk to the guys on your behalf if we don't see your questions. So don't be shy. Anything you want to ask, feel free to pop it on in there. Angel, if you're doing well, my friend, I wanted to kick it back up to you again for a couple of minutes.
Sure. Just want to talk about the tour dates coming up. You guys are playing with Mistress of Reality this Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah. I really suck at math and dates.
you're good. You're good.
Yeah,
So-
Mistresses of Reality is a cool all-female Black Sabbath tribute band. Where are they from, Kyle?
LA.
LA. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be at a local biker bar at State Line, Idaho. It's like 20 miles from where we are, but we played there a few times. It's a fun little place, and one of our many connections that are part of bands hooked us up to that show, and we're super stoked about that one. It'll be a fun, quick little foray into 70s doom rock.
They play obviously Sabbath, but they also play Ozzy too. So, and we're all fans in one way or another because you have to be, if you're metal. So yeah. Friday we're playing with Mistress of Reality. It's pretty excited about that.
And then you guys got August 31st. Quite a few dates happening. Out in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Washington. Yeah, August 31st, September 5th and 6th. Oh, September 7th. Wow. So how do you guys handle when you guys are playing like a couple of shows in a row?
Well, yeah. Go ahead, Kate. Go ahead.
No. Do you want to tell them, or do you want me to tell them?
Tear it up.
Things didn't quite work out with our tour. Unfortunately, this is another case of communication problems and lack of promotion. Unfortunately, we are pulling out of our shows from September 4th to September 7th because of financial concerns more than anything, which is tough to say because we love to play music and we don't necessarily care about the money, but there is a certain point where the money does matter and we have to think about how much we're going to be spending versus how much we're actually going to be seeing from people. So our smaller shows in Fargo and Minneapolis and Milwaukee, those were smaller shows anyways, but we didn't get a lot of headway with promotion on those ones. And we were going to play for the Oscoda Rock Fest on September 7th, which kind of fell out of favor due to, again, financial problems. Just didn't quite work out for us this time. And it sucks because we spent a lot of time booking those shows. We communicated a lot with fans that we wanted to work with, and we're not upset with anybody. It's not a matter of this person didn't do this or whatever. It's not that. They all did their jobs. They all did what they said they were going to do. And at the end of the day, we made a conscious decision, in part because Curtain Call also felt that was the right move to make. It just wasn't going to work out this time. So,
Yeah.
shitty.
I was on the phone for an hour and 42 minutes last night with the band that we were going to be rolling with in Tundra, label mate as well. But basically I got a call from the label saying, hey, you guys are spending a lot of money and we can't really estimate a decent return on investment for this. Because a couple of the shows, again, outside of our control, were not being booked fully or being mismanaged, and we didn't have any guarantees. And so we're hoping that, we can just sell enough T-shirts to pay for gas to get all the way to Michigan and back. And it was unrealistic. So Curtain Call was like, you guys should probably pull out of this, which hurts us because we don't pull out of shows. It's against who we are. We want to play and we want to be on the stage, but and we're trying, like I said, trying to branch out, trying to do bigger and better things. And again, outside of our control, we put in a lot of work for that, and other bands did too. It's just not in the cards. So the tour dates, while we still have them listed up, we as of literally this week are officially off of those dates. Tacoma on the 31st is still happening. And that is the last show of that line, or the only show of that line that's going to be live. So we got booked with some absolutely incredible Seattle bands, and we're going to be playing in Tacoma at the Real Art, and we're very, very excited about that.
Awesome, and like I said, with the band, it's no different than when other major bands got to cancel tours overseas because of financial logistics of it. So I think we'll understand that part.
Yeah. It's tough being, in our shoes because we know that, like you guys kind of mentioned, the bigger bands, people are going to spend hundreds of dollars to go see, and it's well advertised, and they have guarantees up front. If venues like, hey, we'll pay you $5,000, $10,000 or whatever to come play a show, we're not afforded that opportunity. We're like, we have to physically sell tickets in order to get anything out of it, and even then, it's a cut of the tickets that we're selling. So like we don't stand to gain anything. And, a lot of other much bigger musicians have said the same thing, but we are glorified t-shirt salesmen at this point in our careers, and it's tough, but yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Like I said, it definitely does because, like I mentioned, gas costs money, all of that, just to get to the show.
Yeah.
So Lisa wants to know where can we buy merch?
FateDefined.com.
Yep.
We have a whole store in there. Yeah. FateDefined.com. We have an awesome site, and we have some cool merch. We just added some new things for the World in Flames artwork that we have in there. So, yeah.
There's a hidden Easter egg on there too. Go find it.
Right, and that's one of the things that we actually tell fans is buy merch, support the bands because that does actually help. Whether it's a T-shirt, definitely buying the CD.
Oh yeah.
The World in Flames t-shirt.
There you
Yes,
go.
sir.
Boom.
That's a nice T-shirt.
Yes.
Thanks. And we're pretty proud of it.
Here's the thing, if you want your kids to look cool, buy the shirt. You can look
Yeah.
cool on the first day of school.
We so no joke, we just played a festival in Missoula this last weekend, and we sold a shirt. This person was an absolute animal in like every pit the entire night, outdoor and indoor stages. And she came over and she bought a World in Flame shirt, and then she, with her teeth, ripped the sleeves off and ripped like the belly off of it, and just made like a crop top out of it, like right in front of us. We're like, "You're an animal!" And then she went back into the pit. Like, okay, so it's good for being in the pit, and it looks cool. So there's that. You want to look rad in the pit? Buy a shirt.
Exactly.
I like the Your Own Hell one myself.
Yeah, that was actually Cade's girlfriend came up with the artwork for that.
Nice.
Yeah, she drew that herself. Pretty sick.
And you're right, Lisa. Support.
Yes.
Like not even the price of. I mean, the price of freaking parking is like $40 alone when you're going to see these stadium acts.
Yeah.
So the price of freaking parking is like the price of a ticket, less than that, to go see a show.
Yeah.
Michael Sweet mentioned in an interview that about 5 or 10 years, a lot of these bands, these 80s, 90s genre bands are pretty much going to be gone. So, we have to support the new bands because they're the ones coming up. But I wish a band like Motley Crue would, instead of bringing out like an Alex Cooper, would bring out like your band out on tour, per se. Because Ozzy took everybody out on tour.
That's the big thing. Yeah, love Warped Tour, but bring back Ozfest. So many bands got their chances on the Ozfest stages.
Ozfest, Mayhem.
Yeah, Mayhem. Thank God Mayhem's coming back, so
Yeah, that's
Hey.
true.
thank God for that. But yeah, man, it's a tough thing because we know the business, and the business is if we want to get onto a stage like that, we have to buy on. We have to buy on to one of these bigger names. Like, let's say, if we're good enough to share the stage with Lamb of God, we'd have to, pay a premium just to be on that stage with them, just the recognition. And it sucks, but it is what it is, because they need the money too, So it's tough. It's always a tough uphill battle, and none of us are trust fund kids, So
No. Well, yeah, I actually heard about that during Ozfest. People were bashing Sharon Osbourne for charging bands to get on Ozfest. So I didn't know some of the other venues. I'm sorry, some of the other festivals were actually doing that as well.
all the festivals that I'm aware of, it's buy on. Every single one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the everything DWP, you have to know the right people, and they have to get you on. Unfortunately, we don't know any of those people. But I really like to believe, that if we ever got the chance to be on one of those stages, if we got to play Aftershock or Incarceration or Rockville or whatever, that we would absolutely go nuts. And I think that we were great performers, and our music isn't that shitty, So I think that we would have a lot of fun, and we would tear it up. We just need the shot. That's all we want, man.
Yeah, because the music kicks ass. I mean, I listen to it, and it's fucking heavy, which I like. You could play it loud to wake the neighbors up if you don't like them.
Hell yeah.
Get into the music as well, because they got no choice.
Yeah. That old that Pantera meme from forever ago. Whenever I listen to Pantera, so are my neighbors. Yeah, it's the same thing, man.
Right next door to hell. Jay, I'm gonna kick it right back up to you, buddy.
Absolutely, brother. No problemo. Fans, we are going to let you guys know that it is going to be last call for alcohol. We still got some time with Fate Defined. They've been absolutely fantastic, but we also don't want to eat up their entire evening because we really respect the time that they've had with us and the courtesy that they've extended to us coming on the show and rocking out with us a little bit. So it is going to be last call for alcohol, guys. Any fan questions, comments, anything you want to say to the band, anything you want to ask them, don't be shy. We got you covered. But this is the time to make sure that you guys have those things written in so that way that we see them. You guys mentioned Curtain Call. How did you guys get involved with them?
Brian reached out to us last year and said that he loved Domination. That was the one that got him. And we started talking from there. So they spun us on a couple of their stations, and I guess it was well received. So we ended up signing with them.
Nice. Well, did they like it was the song Domination kind of came across their desk kind of a thing, or did one of their peeps go out to a show and see you?
No, it would have been it came across their desk. Yeah, we're too far away from everybody. It feels like, we don't have, in Spokane, we don't have any crazy names who are out scoping bands or anything like that. We're not so fortunate.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure. I looked up a little bit about Curtain Call, but I didn't really see exactly where they were stationed at, so I wasn't sure if they were a West Coast company or anything like that.
Curtain Call has people everywhere that I'm tracking. I believe based out of Florida, as far as I understand, but they have people everywhere. It's just Spokane's a middle of nowhere. It's just Eastern Washington, and that's it.
For sure. What's some of if you were putting together if you were realistically just kind of putting together a tour right now, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, let's just say 2 weeks, what's the territories that you would like to hit kind of first? Do you think your band would benefit best as a West Coast swing kind of into the Midwest, or would you like to try to see if you can get as far east as possible, just kind of hypothetically?
Far east as possible for me. I believe that we would do great in California because thrash, right? That's if we get to the Bay Area, I feel like we would be fairly well received. We pay homage to all those who came before us, so all the old school thrash bands that came from the Bay Area. I feel like we do well, and we would kill it there. But I was on the East Coast for 10 years, and I know the scene pretty well. Maryland, I played a bunch of shows in Maryland and Virginia, and I feel like we would absolutely crush it all up and down the East Coast. Well, you guys, anywhere you guys want to play? I've been talking this whole damn time.
Not the whole damn time. Yeah, I'd say like the middle, central part of the country too, because they seem to be big on their metal. I feel like we'd be pretty well off over there as well. Curtain Call has kind of made that a point to us as well. Like, hey, go to the middle of the country and you'll get some recognition. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought about like different areas around the U.S. and whatnot, but I'd love to eventually go out and play like in Europe or Japan or something like that. Be cool, just
Absolutely.
to travel.
Want to see the world, man.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. We got Jacqueline on. Satellite beaches are incorporated. We are international. We are everywhere. Gee, that's awesome.
Oh, hell yeah, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for tuning in and supporting the guys.
Appreciate you, Jacqueline. Always keeping the head up. Trying to, Yeah.
No, for sure. It's because it's definitely incredibly fickle. Like Angel and I were having a conversation recently with some guests where one of the things we were talking about was the fact that as much as we love the rock and metal scene, we love our peeps, we love our family, is that the thing that comes across a lot is unfortunately when it does come to some of the bigger bands, I find that like we can be our own worst gatekeepers at times. Where I do feel that there's of course value in like touring with your peers and stuff like that, especially the longer tenure bands. But when there's bands that are either calling it a career or just bands that are putting together a subsequent tour, just like you said, Kyle, like we understand the financials that come to bringing a band, whether it's of like a lower tier or of somewhat obscurity out on a tour that's got like a massive appeal. Definitely understand something like that, but I still think that more maximum effort could be made and stuff like that. Like I went to Kiss's farewell tour. There was a band called Amber Wild that played. They'd only been together since about January. They were great. I really enjoyed them. I love their style, love their look, love their sound. But you're not going to pull the wool over my eyes because I couldn't help but chuckle at the fact that the lead singer was Paul Stanley's son.
Uh-huh.
and I've seen Evan in a couple of other projects, and I think that Evan's fantastic. I really do. I'm not taking cheap shots. I'm not trying to belittle him or just anything like that. But with the opportunity, especially with Kiss hanging it up kind of a thing, while I can appreciate, the benefit of a quality band like Amber Wild, who, like I said, were very good, it's not as interesting to me as a band that I legitimately might know nothing about. One of the bands, though, that I will say that I'm really into that has a little bit of celebrity clout, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with them, but they're called Vended. And I really, really like them quite a bit. It's actually Corey Taylor and Clown from Slipknot's son's band.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think they're excellent and they're starting to gain a lot of traction. I'm sure there's certain things that have helped along the way, of course, but I've seen them open for just be like the first or second openers on a few tours. And they're very humble. They come out and hang. And I feel like they have their heads on their shoulders despite some benefits that they might have. I like the fact that it doesn't look like they're trying to rely on that.
Definitely. Yeah, I see that stuff too. And I feel like bands in situations like ours, because we're never alone. We know that. Like we're not unique in any way. But there's a ton of things that we're like, we deserve that shot or whatever. But we see stuff that's like, oh, so-and-so's kid is in that band, or, so-and-so's brother is doing this. So they're going to get the shot that another band wouldn't otherwise even get a second look at,
Yeah.
And it is what it is. But I do feel like the music is good there. And attitudes are good and everything like that. And it's not like they're not just, we're doing this because of our parents kind of thing. But similarly, our August 31st show in Tacoma is in between Metallica days. Metallica's playing in Seattle on Friday the 30th and Sunday the 1st, and we're playing on the Saturday in between. So we're like, hey man, if you like Metallica and Pantera and whatever, like we would be a great show to check out. And we're playing at some little bar, not too far away from downtown Seattle. but then like, you know, Metallica posts on their page, hey, we're playing in Seattle on these days. But in between, James Hetfield's son has a band that he's a drummer in. They're playing a show in Seattle. So they're getting advertised. And I'm like, man, people aren't going to check us out because they're going to want to go see that. And I'm like, man, we're just constantly fighting uphill. But like, we also have the attitude, like, what if somebody from Metallica's camp or, you know, Pantera's camp came out to our show and we had a shot at blowing them away? How cool would that be? So we're going to blow it away and do the best we can and see what happens.
100% Bastardine. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yep.
No, for sure. When it comes to one of the things that actually draws me a lot to your band is that I love the tenacity of your band. I love the cutthroat, take no prisoners. Of course, it's becoming a little cliche, but it's still incredibly apropos, and it still holds a lot of water in the DIY aspect of a band. And, you know, the thing that I appreciate about you guys is just the grind. And I do feel like that gets lost on a lot of bands where, while I don't think that young bands are necessarily naive to the belief that it's about playing shows and getting seen and getting notoriety, and then off you go into the sunset, you know, with the beautiful blonde on your arm. I do think it's just not as recognized across the board that, again, it's a grind. You have to put the work into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. It's the gone are the days of, you know, having A&R reps out at shows just looking for the next talent to give a shot to or whatever. That's, you know, we're not going to have some big wig smoking a cigar in the back corner going, you guys are pretty good. It's just not like that anymore. We have to be relevant on every social media platform. We have to prove that we are, you know, business savvy, and we have to be good at making, you know, good transactions and selling lots of tickets and selling lots of merch. And we have to prove that we're good at literally everything, even though all we want to do is be on the stage. So like, I know that we're very driven and focused on that aspect, but we're not naive to the fact that we have to do everything. And I feel like we work our asses off to prove that.
Absolutely. For anybody that has never been to a Fate Defined show, are you guys approachable? Do you hang out? Do you like to meet people?
Always.
Yeah, for sure.
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even just seeing people shouting lyrics back at us and stuff like that too, and being able to connect with those people, and they'll come out to the merch booth after the show and just kind of strike up a conversation with us and ask us about our influences and stuff like that. It's really cool to hear what their interests are as well, and kind of compare that to us and be like,
yeah, no, absolutely, for sure. What's up there, Metal Empire Radio? Thank you so much for tuning in. Angel, let's kick it up to you, my good man. Why don't we go around the table one more time and then allow the gents to enjoy their evening?
All right. As far as new music, what's ahead for the band?
Bigger, louder, faster, heavier.
Yes.
what we do best.
Because the first song I heard was Domination. I'm like, fuck, this is fucking heavy. And I love the title, too. But then when I listened to the EP, like the first two songs were like rockers. And then I got thrown for a loop with the 7-minute song. I'm like, wow, what an awesome way to kind of do the track listing. We're not putting that song first or second, but kind of making it the last song and just kind of throwing the fans for a loop, doing something completely different from all the other songs that you guys have done.
Absolutely. Thank you. First of all, that's rad that you went through all that. Yeah, like I said, we just wanted to do what we liked, and that's what came together. You know,
yes,
go ahead.
I hope you guys make it to Florida too. I got friends in Florida.
That's the plan. Florida's on my list for sure.
I'll definitely make it there.
Say that again,
Yeah.
Angel. You went mute for a second.
It's
there you are.
it's definitely going to be a rock party going down to Florida.
Oh, hell yeah.
Very good.
He's looking forward to seeing you all live as well.
I think you're muted again.
Oh, sorry. Where can people find you on your socials?
Like I said, fatedefined.com. Every link is on there. But we're on everything. So wherever you listen to your music, wherever you doom scroll through nonsense, we're on there. Got him again.
Yeah,
It kicks ass.
there you go. Say that again, Angel. Your internet's being a little finicky tonight. We know we're past that. We know we're past that problem, but it's giving you a little attitude at the moment.
Get the EP. It kicks ass.
Yes.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
I'm right. Thank you.
They can go to school listening to something that kicks ass.
Drown out the teachers.
There you go. And the teachers will like it.
Right. I'm sure. I'm sure. Mrs. Jeffries will. Absolutely love. The Fate Defined music pumping out of home ec.
Or gym class.
Yes, absolutely, for sure. And just kind of a little fun thing to wrap it up, guys, because again, we really appreciate you guys rocking out with us. When being that you guys are a dominant thrash band, and that's the music that you guys put out and you pump into people. If you put together your little top four of your personal big four, there's kind of that two-tier that always what people love to go about with the big four, and then you've also got bands of course, Exodus, Testament, Death Angel, Overkill. I would love to hear you guys a little bit on who you guys would put together as your big four.
Okay.
I gotta think about mine for a second.
Mine's gonna suck because I am straightforward with it. So Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Exodus. That's my big four. No disrespect to Anthrax, but Exodus is definitely the more primo for me.
For me, I'd probably go Opeth, Inferi, the Black Dahlia Murder, and Death.
It's not thrash, man.
Okay,
That's
well,
okay.
it's my big four. That's what their question was, wasn't it?
Yeah, mine aren't thrash. Tell you that much. Rage Against the Machine, Tool, the Melvins, and Primus. Because Primus sucks.
Primus sucks.
Okay.
Primus sucks, bro.
I guess I would say, for me personally, Metallica and Avenged Sevenfold. You just gotta have them. And then probably Skillet and Five Finger Death Punch.
Nice. I like that.
Some guys wouldn't.
That's a good little collection of just music in general for you guys, your influences, your styles, and also music and bands for the Metal Summoners, as well as other fans of your guys to go out and check out and stuff like that. But guys, first and foremost, we really appreciate you guys rocking out with us this evening. The biggest thing for myself and for Angel is that you guys had a good time. You enjoyed yourselves. You felt respected. You enjoyed the questions that were asked of you. And most importantly, you felt that this was beneficial for your band in any way.
Certainly, man. It was a great time. It was good conversations. Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, man. You guys are awesome. We appreciate having the opportunity for sure.
Absolutely, 100% our pleasure, guys. You're welcome on anytime. If anything pops up, anything that you guys want to talk about, just let us know, or anything that you just want us to put up on our socials and stuff, just send it to us. We're happy to put it up there. And, best of luck with your upcoming shows. We know there's only a couple of them now, but we know that, 2024 hopefully will shape up, but a lot of great stuff to look forward to hopefully in 2025. And Angel and I definitely look forward to being a part of it and checking it out, and hopefully getting you guys over to the East Coast or ourselves getting out there so we can all hang.
Absolutely, man.
Totally, man.
Definitely. Thank you.
No, for sure, guys. Thank you guys so much. Metal Summoners, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning in, supporting the band, talking to the guys, asking them great questions, and just supporting what they do. You see the passion behind what they do. You see how much they care about being that band, performing live for you guys, and getting back out on the stage. So thank you guys again, Metal Summoners, for getting out there, supporting live music, and rocking out. Angel and I want to give a shout out real quick to the Mad Chad over at the Mad Chad channel. He designed our intro. We really, really appreciate him for putting together a bitchin' intro for us. So, Chad, thank you so much. Guys, go and check out his channel. Give it a follow. Give it a subscribe. We really, really appreciate it. And again, make sure that you're following the Metal Summit on Instagram. That's where we put out the guest announcements first. So follow that. But most importantly, follow us on Facebook and on YouTube, because that's where the interviews are live. So like, follow, subscribe, and share. So not only do we get to have more great conversation, Fate Defined get out there that much more to all of the ears that get to hear on them. And we really, really appreciate you guys again. Take care. We were actually going to see you guys tomorrow. We've got Vic Lacar, TMS alumni, coming back on the show. But thank you so much for tuning in, rocking out with us. Again, thank you so much on behalf of Fate Defined. We appreciate them so much. And again, follow Angel Alamo at Angel Alamo 78 on Instagram. You can also find him on Facebook. And you can follow me on Instagram at Salem.Vampire. Take care. We'll see you guys in 24 hours. And have a great rest of your week. Horns up. Bangs out. It's going to be another great time. Thank you so much. As always, you've been watching